Well, I was a coach in the major leagues. I was 32 years old, and it was quite an experience. We were playing. I was with the New York Mets. We were playing in Atlanta. I left Atlanta thinking everything was copacetic at home with my wife waiting to give birth. By the time I got to Cincinnati, I found out. Erroneously that she had already given birth. So it was a Sunday night. I flew back to Atlanta to fly to New York to get to the hospital to realize that she was only going to the hospital. The information I got was wrong. And in those days, there were no cell phones or anything, so it was just a word that the attendant told me on the plane that was the word that pilot got. So, yeah, I mean, he became the joy of my life, obviously, to have someone who's named for you, who looked a little like you, and was around me all the time, just became, that section of my life that had joy written all over it.
What's doing, everybody? I'm Alec Lace. Thank you for watching First Class Fatherhood. Today's guest on the podcast is Major League Baseball legend Bobby Valentine. Bobby Valentine began his Major League Baseball playing career when he was drafted 5th overall in the 1968 MLB draft. He began managing in 1985 with the Texas Rangers. He would go on to manage the New York Mets to the 2000 World Series. He also managed the Red Sox and had some wild success in Japan as a baseball manager as well. He's got a new book out right now titled Valentine's Way. The link to the book is down there in the description. While you're down there, smack the subscribe button, tap the like, and let's jump into it right now with Bobby Valentine on First Class Fatherhood. Joining me now, First Class Father, Bobby Valentine. Welcome to First Class Fatherhood.
Good to be with you. Thank you very much.
All right, well, let's get it started like this. How many kids do you have? How old?
Well, I've got a 38-year-old son. Yeah.
Very.
And that's one. That's one. And then I have my extended family of men.
Very cool. What kind of sports or activities was your son into growing up?
No, he doesn't do sports. He's an artist, as a matter of fact. He lives in Dallas, Texas. He grew up in Dallas. Played a little, very little baseball. Played a very little football, but knew that his skills were other than on the athletic field.
Very cool. If you could, Bobby, please just take a minute to hit my listeners with a little bit about your background and what you do.
Well, it's a tough little bit of background. I'm Bobby Valentine. Yeah, I was born in Stamford, Connecticut. Right now, I'm an author, a owner of a movie production company. I just left as executive director of athletics at Sacred Heart University. I've been a major league player, a major league manager and coach. I've owned restaurants. I've done some stuff in my life, and and now I'm with you.
Yeah, you've had a legendary career. I'm going to touch on your new book in just a second here. So take me back to the beginning of your fatherhood journey then, Bobby. How old were you when you first became a dad, and how did that experience kind of change your perspective on life?
Well, I was a coach in the major leagues. I was 32 years old, and it was quite an experience. We were playing. I was with the New York Mets. We were playing in Atlanta. I left Atlanta thinking everything was copacetic at home with my wife waiting to give birth. By the time I got to Cincinnati, I found out erroneously that she had already given birth. So it was a Sunday night. I flew back to Atlanta to fly to New York to get to the hospital to realize that she was only going to the hospital. The information I got was wrong. And in those days, there were no cell phones or anything, so it was just a word that the attendant told me on the plane that was the word that pilot got. So, yeah, I mean, he became the joy of my life, obviously, to have someone who's named for you, who looked a little like you, and was around me all the time, just became, that section of my life that had joy written all over it.
Yeah, very well said, Bobby. And I'm kind of curious now, managing so many years in the major leagues. Did you notice? Was there a noticeable difference between players who were dads? Were they any easier or more difficult to manage than the players who were, say, the single guys out there that didn't have any kids? Was there any noticeable difference when you were managing them?
Well, I never tried to departmentalize guys and put them into categories. But, I could tell you that there was a great pitcher named Nolan Ryan, who I was a teammate of back in the 70s. And then in the late 80s, I became his manager. And actually, the way he went from a free agent to being a Texas Ranger player, and that was the team that I was managing, was that his wife and I had the conversation while he was deciding what team to go to. And the conversation was, will you allow the kids to be in the clubhouse, to be with their dad while he's warming up or while he's practicing? Because the time is very important for them to be together. And at that time, kids were not allowed in the clubhouses of Major League Sports. It was the workplace, you know what I mean? So that was an easy yes for me. Nolan's kids were allowed in. He became a great pitcher, or he was already a great pitcher, became a great Ranger pitcher. And I think it was a lot because he was content with his life and his family being with him.
Wow, very cool. What would you consider, Bobby, to be the top values that you had hoped to instill in your son as he was growing up?
Oh, just that idea of loving others like he's loved, and to give more than you want to receive, and to make sure that you wake up every morning and look yourself in the mirror and let that guy who's looking back at you know that you're responsible for that day. And when you go to sleep, make sure you're looking back in that mirror to say that you either did a good job or you need a little work tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Great stuff. I know you got, as we're recording this today, you got your publishing day today for your book, Valentine's Way, My Adventurous Life and Times. Why did you decide the book? Why did you decide to write the book? Why now? And what can the readers expect when they pick up a copy?
Well, I had a very lucky life from the time I was born in Stamford, Connecticut in 1950. And I had a lot of wonderful friends and experiences, and some experiences that when I read about in the book, I can't even believe happened, but they did. And I just wanted to share them with people who either followed my career or want to read about some experiences and happenstance that are pretty amazing. So Peter Golenbach, who's a great author, contacted me, said, hey, I've done books before. It'll be easy. You just call me up and talk about your life, and I'll put down your words, and we'll sell a book. And I talked about my life, and he put down my words. And today the book is out nationally, and hopefully we're going to sell some books.
Yeah, really good stuff. I'm going to drop the link to the book in the description of today's podcast episode so my listeners can get over there and check it out. And it's just the amazing amount of people that you've been associated with in your life. So many legendary people. And I know Tommy Lasorda. I had Mike Piazza. I've had Alex Avila on the podcast here, his godson. Very obviously people very close with him. Do you get into your relationship with Tommy Lasorda in the book? And what kind of relationship, what kind of a mark on your life did Tommy Lasorda have?
Well, yes, I get into it. I was 18 years old when I left my hometown, and I wound up in Ogden, Utah, which is a rookie league baseball team. Tommy Lasorda was the manager, and he took me under his wing, and he said, it wasn't because he was Italian that he liked me. It was because I was Italian that he liked me. And we struck up a father and son relationship, if you will, over the years. I was honored to give the eulogy at his son's funeral, and also honored to give the eulogy at Tommy's funeral. I wish they were both still with us and with me, but they do live on every day.
Yeah, wow, incredible, Bobby. And I'm curious too. I know today it's a lot different as far as kids playing baseball. It's really a 365 day a year sport. I know when I was playing, it was kind of like Little League, and then that was it. I mean, we had some other leagues, but it was like really just basically a seasonal game when I was playing. And now you could play it all through the year. what kind of advice do you have for the parents out there that have kids that are interested in, baseball as a career? Do you recommend the all year round baseball, playing different sports, giving it a break during the off season? What kind of advice do you have for the parents out there that whose kids are passionate about baseball?
Well, I hope they can stay passionate, and the way they learn to stay passionate is by understanding what the sport really is about. And it's not about scholarships or number one draft choice or money or livelihoods. It's about teamwork and sportsmanship and understanding how to be a good winner, how to be a good loser, how to get up when you're down, and how to make sure that those around you feel a little better about the 3 hours or 4 hours that they're with you, so they come back and do it again.
Yeah, well said. And one thing I talk about on my show a lot, Bobby, is the fatherless crisis that we have going on in our country. We got so many kids growing up without a father or a father figure in their life. And a lot of times, guys will find that father figure through the sports. Some military guys will find it in the military when they grow up without a dad. So I know you just spoke about maybe a father-son relationship with Tommy Lasorda. Did you ever have that with any of your players who maybe came in that didn't grow up with a father or a father figure, and you became their father figure throughout the years?
As a matter of fact, many. Yeah. And, I'm lucky, as I said in the book, it's mentioned a few times of a few players, and there really were many. But when you're coaching, when you're managing, you're filling needs, and fulfilling needs, and many players have needs of guidance, have needs of friendship, and have needs of a father figure, and I think I was that quite often.
Yeah, definitely really needed. I know, like I said, I speak to so many different, pro athletes and stuff like that attest to finding that father figure through coaching and through sports. So always an important aspect of it. What would you say? Obviously, managed a lot of ball players in your life here. What kind of disciplinarian were you as a dad with your son growing up? And is that different than the discipline style that you grew up with?
Wow. Yeah, it was a little different on the discipline side. Yeah, and my son could have had a little more discipline, I think. And I think a lot of parents think that. But he was smart enough to understand what was right and what was wrong. So there weren't times that he did things that were so far out of the box that I had to rein him back in. There were a couple of times that it took him a little longer to understand what was right and what was wrong, but he always got it.
Did he end up developing relationships with some of the guys either you were managing with or players did he end up developing relationships with some of the players that you were around while you were involved with the game?
A few, yeah. Matt Franco, Benny Agbayani, Mike Piazza, and my son were friends, and he's an easy guy to like. So when he was around, people liked him.
Yeah, very. And I always wonder, from moving from city to city, I wonder how that could take a toll, on the kids growing up. Did you guys have a home base where you guys, you stayed throughout, no matter which team you were managing? And did he have a central point, or did you move to each city that you went to?
Yeah, we tried to keep his educational life stable. So I got to Texas in '85, and he was a young child at the time, and he basically got all of his education in Texas, included going to SMU, and he lives in Texas now. So we kept that part of his life as stable as possible.
Very cool. And a little off topic, but just because you're here, and a quick hitter on what is your opinion on the new baseball rules that we have going on here with the man starting on second base, all the different rule changes that have come in? Any ones that you particularly don't like, or any that you're a big fan of?
Yeah, I'm not big with the guy on second base in extra innings, but I like the idea that a pitcher has to pitch to three batters. I think it takes a little more understanding of the situation in the dugout by the manager, and I think that some of the rules coming in about enlarging the bases, which seems small, but it's a big part of safety of the game, and not running the catcher over at home plate when he's unaware that he's ready to be hit. I think those are good changes in the game. And I think we have to do a few more civility situations. One with the pitcher's ability to throw at someone's head. I still can't figure out why that's allowed, but we'll get it someday and we'll get it right.
Yeah, I haven't had anybody yet that is baseball related here that's been a big fan of the man on second base. So I don't know how long maybe they'll keep that thing going there. So, well, what's next? Obviously, I mean, I know you just made a run for mayor. You got involved a little bit in the political field. Do you plan on getting involved any more in politics? What other kind of plans or goals do you have for yourself here for the future?
Well, other people have plans for me to do other things in that world, but I don't think I'm going to do that. Um, Running for mayor was a wonderful experience. I was an unaffiliated candidate in a town that had almost 40% Democrats in it, and was right in the senator ring right until the final bell rang, and lost by a close decision. But there was a lot of wins in showing people that the political divide in this country is not necessary, and it's not the right thing for especially local politics, but for all politics. The idea is to come together to solve problems, not to separate. And I think I gave that good message here the last 7 months.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more about it. I think our political system is so toxic right now, especially for our younger generation, our kids that are seeing what's going on. It's just people hating one another that represent the other side. So we definitely need to somehow come together and have some kind of civil discourse, some kind of conversation again about the issues that are important to all of us. So props to you for getting involved. I know it's not an easy thing to do. So, well, obviously, book is out now, Valentine's Way. Link in the description of the podcast episode. Last thing I want to hit you with here, I love to ask all the dads that I get on the podcast, what type of advice do you have for that new dad or for that about-to-be father who's out there listening?
Well, that time management in the world is very important, and you got to make sure that the proper time is allotted, and that time needs to be very flexible. There's no book out there that tells you how to be a great dad. There are some that give you advice, but each dad has an individual situation that he must deal with his partner, and it's a frustrating but very rewarding situation, and you have to remember to give it enough time.
Very well said. I love the message. This has been an honor for me. I got to say, Bobby Valentine, you're a first-class father all the way, and thank you so much for giving me a few minutes of your time here on First Class Fatherhood.
Okay, Alec, thank you very much for having me. Take care.